Hey friends, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, back again with Plantmas Day 9. Today I'm setting up my reading journal for 2022 and I am very excited. 2021 was my first year having a reading journal and I really loved it, and it seemed like y'all did too. So I'm very happy to be setting up another reading journal, second year in a row, and I hope y'all are as excited to watch me set this up as I was to make it. Of course, I'm using another square notebook from Archer & Olive. Something about the square format for a notebook just really works for me when it comes to a reading journal, and this notebook is so beautiful. I'm going with that more scrapbooky feel again. I really enjoyed doing this in my first reading journal. I feel like this scrapbooky washi tape and tea-stained paper and different images and stickers kind of layered and lots of different elements combined together is just so different from what I typically do in my bullet journal or in my husband's bullet journal. And something about creating these spreads, just cutting and ripping a bunch of stuff and gluing them together on a page, is super relaxing for me. It's really enjoyable. Maybe it brings back memories of elementary school, cutting and gluing things. I don't know, but I love it. So I definitely wanted to go with this scrapbooky feel yet again. As always, I will link every supply that I can in the description box down below if you're looking for something in particular. I will say that most of the images I'm using I found online and just printed at home, so I can't link those, of course, but I'll try to link things like stickers or washi tape, pens I'm using, my stamp set, all that kind of stuff. Also, if you're interested in making tea-stained paper to use in your own reading journal, I'll link the tutorial I made showing how super easy it is to tea-stain paper at home, so check that out as well. I'm starting by decorating the inside cover of my journal. I really love doing this. I feel like for years I just kind of ignored this inner cover as if it didn't even exist. And then a couple years ago, something about my perspective shifted and I started looking at it as a really fun blank canvas to create a first impression for my journal every time I flip it open. And ever since then, I've really enjoyed decorating my inner covers. Flipping over to the next spread, which is my cover page and quote page, I found this image which looks like an old-timey scientific experiment inside some gothic manor, and it just really spoke to me. It was very spooky and I liked it a lot, so I decided to make this the basis for my cover page. And then the quote I chose for this journal is, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one." And this is actually a George R.R. Martin quote. And I really like this quote. I feel like it very much ties in with my initial love of reading as a child, what really drew me to reading, which was that escapism and getting to live out all of these fantastical, amazing lives that I imagined I never would. You know, some of them are impossible, but also some of them just, we only get one life and we can't do everything in a single lifetime. But I feel like through books, we can taste test every possible life. And I just feel like it would be so much more boring if I didn't get to experience all of these amazing things through literature and nonfiction as well. I've been asked a couple times to give advice for how to design these scrapbooky style pages, how to figure out what goes where and what to put together. And honestly, I don't know what to say because I don't even know what I'm doing, to be honest. I just have a pile of images beside me, a big box full of washi tape and stickers, lots of tea stained paper, and I just kind of grab random things and rip things and cut things and pile them all together and move them around until they look semi-intentional, and then I glue them. And that's it. So I don't know if I have really concrete advice other than just to try things and play around and have fun with it and allow things to kind of happen and enjoy that process. I think that's part of why I love setting up these spreads so much, is that I'm typically such a planner. A shocker, I know. But in my bullet journal, in my husband's bullet journal, in other journals that I set up, I'm typically very focused and I have a plan and I sketch everything out ahead of time. I know exactly what's going where. And with my reading journal, all of that gets thrown out the window and I just kind of let things happen and go with the flow, and it's very relaxing and very enjoyable for me. And a lot of the time, spreads turn out completely different from how I maybe would have envisioned them, and that's most of the fun. So I would just recommend going with the flow and letting yourself have fun with it. And to take a step back from time to time, I like to stand up and squint a little bit to get a bird's eye view on my spread and just see how things are looking without being in it and feeling like I constantly have to add something else, because it can be easy to go a little too far and add too many things to a spread, and I've definitely done that. But taking a step back, even going and doing something else and then coming back to look at your spread again, can make you realize that it actually looks great the way it is. And sometimes it's nice to let different elements of a spread breathe a little bit, to have that space to exist without being too overcrowded. But of course, that's a personal preference. Your definition of an overdone spread is going to be completely different from mine, and that's a lot of the fun anyway, getting to create our own ideal journals, but taking a step back always helps me. Here I'm setting up my index. As y'all know, I don't use an index in my regular bullet journal, but I love using an index in a specialty journal. I've actually used the index in my current reading journal a lot. Like almost every time I open up my reading journal, I'm referring to the index. So I definitely wanted to include one again. Flipping over to my next spread, which is my 2022 reading tracker. This is a spread that I have loved using in my current reading journal and knew I wanted to include again. This is a really simple spread where I create a box for every book of my reading goal, and every time I finish a book, I just color it in with a light beige Tombow. And there's something so satisfying about seeing the squares slowly fill up and seeing me approach my reading goal throughout the year. Very simple and easy and quick to use, but really fun in my opinion. And this year, I actually shifted my reading goal. I brought it down a little bit. My first reading goal when I got back into reading in 2020 was 100 books, and I passed that and hit 125. So for 2021, I thought I would go for 125 and see what happened. But 2021 was the year of chaos, both globally and in my personal life. I moved halfway across the country. It was a lot, and I was really stressed about hitting my reading goal. I actually hit 125 books earlier today while I was filming this video, so yay, I hit my goal. But I decided to reduce it for 2022 just to try to lower the stress levels a little bit. I feel like 115 books is still a challenge. That's just under 10 books a month. But it's not quite as much of a challenge, and hopefully that little bit of a difference will make it just that little bit less stressful for me. Hopefully. And now flipping over to my next spread, which is 22 books in 2022. This is another remix from a 2021 spread where I picked 21 books I wanted to read in 2021. These books are a combination of backlist titles, either books that I own physically that I've been slow to get to and I really want to prioritize, or books that I've just had an interest in for a while but haven't quite gotten to yet, and I need that extra incentive. And also new releases that are coming out in 2022 that I'm really excited about and I don't want to forget. The way I use this spread is just as a reference to remind myself if I'm not sure what to read next, I can flip here and pick one of these books to read. And every time I finish one of these books, I just quickly jot down the star rating underneath, just drawing out the number of stars I gave the book so that at the end of the year, I can get a feel for how I felt about the 22 books that I predicted I would enjoy and was really excited about. And now flipping to the final spread of this setup, which is going to be my book bracket. This is a spread that I set up in my 2021 journal as well, and is supposed to help me pick my favorite book of the year. I am super indecisive, especially indecisive when it comes to picking favorite anything. I hate picking favorites, and that is especially true when it comes to books. I feel like if I were left to my own devices, I would probably pick like 20 favorite books every year. And the idea behind the book bracket is that this will help me determine my absolute favorite book of the entire year using a methodical process instead of relying on my own decision-making skills. And actually, tomorrow's video for Plantmas Day 10, I'm going to be filling out my 2021 book bracket. So definitely come back tomorrow to see that. I am so excited about it. Basically, what I'm going to do is pick a favorite book from each month of the year to fill out those top 12 boxes, and then pit them against each other 2 at a time to come up with my 6 favorite, and then take those in pairs again to determine my 3 favorites of the year. And then those 3 favorites are going to go head to head so I can determine my number 1 favorite book of the entire year. And I haven't thought about it at all yet. I've been trying to not even consider even what book is going to be my favorite for each month, because I want it to be all real time with you, my reactions to figuring this out. I think it's going to be really fun. I'm super excited if you can't tell, and I know I'm going to want to do this again in 2022. So I just recreated this spread in my new journal. I do feel like I might want to add a couple more spreads to this yearly setup, spreads that I can use throughout the entire year to track things or overviews, but I feel like I need more distance. I feel like I need more time to think about it and kind of consider what I maybe felt was missing from my 2021 journal, and I just haven't really had time for that yet. So I might end up posting a part 2 of this setup with a couple more spreads if I do end up having enough for a video. And of course, if you have any suggestions for spreads that I could include as sort of year-long spreads, let me know in the comments down below, because I feel like there are spreads that I'm missing, like maybe a series tracker or like a reading goals spread, but I'm still mulling things over. So let me know if you'd want to see a part 2, if I had more spreads to make, and if you have any spread suggestions. I really like the sort of light and airy, warm and cozy vibe that these spreads have, with the moths and dragonflies and mushrooms and all the green and brown and beige. And of course, all those dark academia images. It really works for me, and I'm super excited to use this journal in 2022. Thank you as always to my patrons for your support. Y'all are the absolute best. If you at home want to join the squad, feel free. There's a link in the card and in the description box down below. And with that, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you really soon tomorrow for Plantmas Day 10. Bye, friends.